Shaedon Sharpe just had the dunk of the year. We also got to talk about who is going to win Defensive Player of the Year now that Victor Wembanyama is out. So let's talk about it. So first let's talk about Shaedon Sharpe, because if you did not see the dunk he had tonight, it was crazy. Like, we know the Ja Morant dunk, ironically, talking about Wembanyama again, but the Ja Morant dunk on Victor Wembanyama, it didn't go in, so obviously it can't technically be dunk of the year, right? But that was basically what everyone was, classifying as dunk of the year, because he literally dunked on Victor Wembanyama. It was crazy. But anyway, so Shaedon Sharpe tonight had an insane poster dunk. Like, I suggest you go watch it. It is 100%, in my opinion, dunk of the year right now, because I can't even explain it. Like, the way that he took off so far away from the basket, and how high he got, and how powerful the dunk is. Like, he literally fell after the dunk because he just put so much force into it. So you got to watch that. You have to watch that dunk. Dunk of the year, Shaedon Sharpe. And Shaedon Sharpe, by the way, should be in the dunk contest next year. I don't know if they asked him and he said no. I don't know what happened in terms of this past, All-Star weekend. But if they did not ask him and he didn't say no, they need to ask him again next year. Even if he said no, ask him again, because he is that great of a dunker. So that's the first thing. The other thing is, like I said, we now, because Victor Wembanyama was the runaway Defensive Player of the Year. It wasn't even close. The odds makers, everybody basically had Victor Wembanyama winning Defensive Player of the Year. And so now we have to basically decide who is going to be actually Defensive Player of the Year, because Victor Wembanyama is not going to meet the 65-game minimum, which is the new rule in order to, qualify for an award. So the top candidates right now, according to the odds makers, are Jaren Jackson Jr., who we know has won it before, and then also, who was second on the list? It was Evan Mobley. And then I think third on the list was Dyson Daniels. And then a few other people on the list were Jalen Williams from OKC, J-Dub, also Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, because OKC has the best defense in the league. So they do have a couple of people on there. Giannis was 10th on the list. I saw his name on there. I'm trying to remember who else was on the list, but those are basically the big names on the list. There actually was a name who was not on the list that I was surprised, was Draymond Green. Draymond was not even a top 10 candidate for Defensive Player of the Year, which is kind of crazy to me, because if you know the season that Draymond has had defensively this year, he's had a crazy defensive season. And the Warriors are currently top 10 for sure. I don't know exactly where they are, but top 10 in defense in the league. So I was surprised that he was, I don't expect him, or I didn't expect him to be the leading candidate, but the fact that he wasn't even top 10 was kind of crazy to me. But anyway, so the top three candidates are Jaren Jackson Jr., Evan Mobley, and Dyson Daniels. Now, if you have not watched Dyson Daniels on defense, not even just in general, this season he's going crazy. He's having a historic defensive season by a whole bunch of measures. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't know if he still is, or maybe I have the stat incorrect, but he's averaging 3 steals, and there's some kind of statistical record with his steals. I don't know exactly what it is, but he steals the ball like crazy. He is an awesome defender. And to be honest, if I had to pick of the 3 candidates out of an individual defensive season, I feel like I would go with Dyson Daniels. I feel like Dyson Daniels has had an incredible defensive season. But because the Hawks are not even, near the top of the league, they are in 9th or 10th place. And I don't think their team defense is top 10. Maybe it is, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think they're even top 10 in team defense. So even though that's not Dyson Daniels' fault, because he's doing the best he can, obviously he's only one person, but because the team doesn't have a top defense, You usually don't win Defensive Player of the Year unless your team is number one, usually, but like at least, top five. Because when Rudy Gobert won last year, the Timberwolves had the best defense in the league. When Marcus Smart won, the Celtics had the best defense in the league. When Draymond Green, speaking of him again, when he won, the Warriors, I don't exactly remember because that was like 10 years ago, but they probably had the best defense in the league because they were a top defensive team in the league always. If not, they were like top 2 or 3 that year, right? So it usually goes to someone who is on a team. And when Rudy Gobert, again, him, speaking of him again, when he won it on Utah, they were the number one defense in the league. So typically it goes to someone who is on a team with the top defense and you're like the best defender on the team. So that's the unfortunate, reality for Dyson Daniels. Like I said, incredible defensive season. I feel like individually I might pick him if we were just doing individual defense, but I don't think he's going to win just because of his team, lack of success, so to speak. So between Jaren Jackson Jr. and Evan Mobley, I think I'm going to go with Evan Mobley because, well, if you watch this page, I've, been rooting for Evan Mobley. I've been saying, like, as soon as he takes that next step on offense, because his defense has always been really good, but as soon as he takes that next step on offense, the Cavs are going to be super dangerous because that's all they were really waiting for was for him to be that, two-way player. And he definitely has done that this year. He's had a great season. Shout out to Evan Mobley. So I do also, like, it's not that he doesn't deserve it over Dyson Daniels. I think Evan Mobley actually does deserve to win Defensive Player of the Year as well. He's had a very good defensive year. The Cavs are obviously, actually, I don't even know where they rank defensively, honestly. But I would assume that they are a top 5 defense. Like, I wouldn't bet my life on that, but I'll just assume they are. And so Evan Mobley is one of their top defenders, and he has a lot to do with that. And he does so many things well. So I would definitely pick Evan Mobley as the Defensive Player of the Year if we are going individual defense and team defense included, because obviously, like I said, team success and stuff like that does factor into voters' decisions. So a couple of the other names on the list that I mentioned that I was talking about was Jalen Williams and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I do not think either of them are going to win it, but again, because OKC has the number 1 defense in the league, and that I know for sure, at least at this moment, according to the stats. So because they have the number 1 defense, like I said, Defensive Player of the Year usually goes to someone who is on the number 1 defensive team in the league. So it makes sense that they are like top 5 candidates because that is their team and they're the number 1 team on defense. Again, but I don't think they're going to win it. I really think it's basically between Jaren Jackson Jr. and Evan Mobley. And again, I hope that Dyson Daniels can put up a good fight in the race. And I would root for him to win it, but I don't know if he's going to. But he definitely is going to he's going to get some votes for sure. He's not going to get no votes. And then, like I said, I'm trying to remember all the names on the list. I said Giannis was at the bottom of the list. I don't think Giannis is going to win. I really do think it's a 3-man race and maybe a 2-man race if you take out Dyson Daniels. But 3-man race at the maximum, in my opinion. Like I said, I think Draymond Green should get some votes. I don't think he's going to win, but I do think he deserves some votes because, again, incredible defensive season for him. I'm just really trying to remember who else was on the list because I can't remember off the top of my head. But I do think, going back to OKC, I think Jalen Williams and Shai will get a couple of votes maybe, but like, okay, so for Jaren Jackson Jr., because I haven't talked about him yet. It's not that he's not having a good season. Jaren Jackson Jr., by the way, is having a ridiculous season. That is why he was named an All-Star over Ja Morant. And when I gave my All-Star reserve predictions, I had said, I'm taking Jaren Jackson Jr. over Ja Morant. Not because, Ja Morant was having a bad season, but Jaren Jackson Jr.'s season was just like crazy. And we always know that he's a top defender in the league. So like, he's won it before, so we know that this is what he does. I just feel like as well as he has played, and defense included, I just still think that Evan Mobley should win over him or Dyson Daniels again. That's just my opinion on that. So that is what I feel about, the Defensive Player of the Year award. It's very sad that Victor Wembanyama obviously got hurt. We hope he heals up soon, but, he was the clear cut winner. He was the runaway winner, and it was not even close. So you got to imagine, like, if Rudy Gobert has won Defensive Player of the Year 4 times, 4, right? Not 5, 4 times. Can you imagine how many times Victor Wembanyama could potentially win this award in the league? Because he was runner-up last year, I think, in his rookie season to Rudy Gobert. I believe he was runner-up. And this year he was going to win it. So as long as he stays healthy, like, how many awards for Defensive Player of the Year could Victor Wembanyama win? I don't know what the record is. I'd have to look it up after. I know someone, I believe, has 5. Maybe someone has 6. I don't know. I might just be making that up. But, like, Victor Wembanyama might break the record for most Defensive Player of the Years from an individual player. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this live, and see you soon.